Hello and welcome to Featured. I'm Jonathan Joseph, and joining me today is the multi-talented 16-year-old all the way from Plettenburg Bay. Hello, Hannah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are 16 years old and already releasing music. You've released 3 singles so far. It's called Take My Hand, What's Left, and Hit Me Again. Where did it all begin for you?
I think it began since I can remember. I think obviously quarantine was a very big stage of sort of I had nothing else to do, so most of the time I started watching YouTube videos and got inspiration from there, and then I started writing songs when I was 14.
Wow.
So
Now, you're mentioning that you started writing songs at the age of 14. That's quite a young age. Just walk me through what your typical songwriting process is actually.
well, I think when I started, it was sort of I used to watch a lot of documentaries and get a lot of inspiration from those artists. It was sort of I'd start like making a riff on the guitar, and then I'd put lyrics to it, and sort of creating it comes in stages. Like sometimes I have my notes app open, or I have my voice recorder. So if I have an idea, I'll record it, or and then I'll come back to it. If I have an idea of like a song like Hit Me Again,
Yeah.
I wrote the title down like I think 2 months before I even got to anywhere near it. And then I sort of scroll through my notes when I'm looking for ideas. It's a great way to do it because sometimes writer's block or yeah. So and then the riff kind of came to me for Hit Me Again. And then it all just sort of you do things separately, and then it all comes together and it really works. Yeah, it's multiple different processes. I can't say there's a specific way you can write a song.
Now, if I'm correct, you started singing from the age of 8, right?
Yes, yeah.
And you started learning the guitar from the age of 10, if I'm correct.
Yes,
So,
that is right. Yeah.
walk us through that moment actually when you realized that you wanted to pursue music as a professional career or do it seriously.
I think when I started performing live to audiences after my first concert after quarantine, I did it in front of a lot of people, and I remember my legs shaking. I was like freaking out because it was my first time playing guitar and singing together for an audience that big. And then the thrill afterwards is definitely just like you kind of realize. And then I started doing open mics every single week after that, and I think there was no going back for me.
Wow, and just touching on those live performances that you do, I did some research on you and I checked out your YouTube channel, and I've actually seen that there has been quite a few videos of you on your YouTube channel from a young age already. Would you say that posting those YouTube videos has actually helped shape your confidence maybe for these live performances from a young age?
Yeah, I think it did. I did go through a stage where I didn't post much. And then it was sort of like that in between of like when I was like 13, it was kind of like uncomfortable those years. And then
Yeah.
I got to a point when I was like the start of last year, and I was like, okay, I think it's time to post. And I think I did an Instagram post for the first time, and I said in the caption, this isn't going to happen often, and I was completely wrong. It happened much. It's a great way to sort of get yourself out there.
Talking about getting yourself out there, being such a young artist in the industry, what would you say some of the biggest challenges are?
Well, I do perform a lot to restaurant people, and a lot of the time they're going there for dinner. So it's sort of I think it's very humbling when you sort of playing to an audience. Sometimes you get like these people don't really want to listen, and I think it's a challenge, but it just makes those captive audiences much more rewarding. And yeah, that's definitely one of the things. The other thing is trying to make content that can sort of reach an audience. I've started promoting my videos, but it helps a lot. I think it's just difficult to get it out there to people, like creating like a video that lots of people are going to want to interact with, lots of people wanting to see, because my music isn't average. So when
Yes.
you get to the point where it's like not an easy kind of chorus that some people can sing along to, it's difficult to promote it.
But where do you get some of your music inspirations from also? Are there any particular artists also that you're currently listening to at the moment?
Yeah, so well, when I started, my inspiration was a lot of Ed Sheeran. He
Okay.
just explained songwriting so well, and it was a relatable thing because he played guitar and he only sang, and he had 4 years of just playing in restaurants and just gigging in London until he
Wow.
got anywhere. So it was a very inspiring thing when I found out all that about him. And then later on in the years, John Mayer and Hosier was the first proper guitar I learned to sing and play on guitar. It was Cherry Wine by Hosier. So he's a big inspiration. I like a lot of comparisons I get are Florence and the Machine and Alanis Morissette, because of sometimes the way I write is kind of out there, like Alanis Morissette's kind of stuff. So those are sort of the inspirations I have. Ben Howard is someone who's a little bit underground, but he's just, I've had his CD in our car for like, we've had his CD in our car for like 5 years and it hasn't been taken out, and it just keeps playing and over again. So he's a big inspiration.
Now, as you continue to grow as an artist, what's something that you're looking forward the most to?
Well, I've got some exciting gigs coming up this December, big ones. So I really hope that it all comes together really well. And that's one big thing I'm really hoping can happen, where I sort of get a less restaurant gigs, more opening acts, and more exposure to crowds that are captive and looking for musicians in South Africa who they can listen to.
Hannah, thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all the best with your musical career.
Thank you. I enjoyed this a lot.
Thank you so much. That's it, Hannah Morris joining me right here on Featured on the SA Top 10.